Today we're spending a few of our waking minutes together on something most of us don't even realize we're doing until our body reminds us. We're going to be addressing something most of us do for way too many of our waking minutes every day, and that is doing what I'm doing right now, staring. We experience 1,000 waking minutes on average every day. How are you spending yours? I'm Dr. Wendy Bazilian, and you're listening to 1,000 Waking Minutes. I can't wait to connect with you here with practical ways to eat well, move daily, and be healthy, to optimize every waking minute you live for a happier, healthier life. Thank you for sharing some of your waking minutes with me today. Let's get started.
I'm saying yes to better days, yes. I'm on my way, yes. It's gonna be okay, yeah.
Welcome to 1,000 Waking Minutes. I'm Dr. Wendy Bazilian, your host. Today we're spending a few of those waking minutes on something most of us don't even realize that we're probably overdoing until our body reminds us. We're addressing something that most of us spend a lot of waking minutes each day on, and that is staring at screens. From phones to laptops, our tablets, our TV, we spend hours each day tethered to our tech. It connects us, of course, it entertains us, it informs us, it helps us get our work done, and it exhausts us. Mentally, for sure, but physically too. Our necks, our wrists, our eyes, they're all feeling it. So this is the digital life that we live in, and it's so key to the way we operate today. It's created so many efficiencies. It allows us to be on the go and still connected. It allows us to accomplish things, check in on things that we need, check in on others. It allows us to order our groceries, our clothing, make appointments online. Think of all the things that it has changed the way that we can be efficient and navigate the world. We can make our doctor's appointments, even our oil changes, we can schedule that way without even picking up the phone. We can plan meals, we can order takein and it just shows up. We can sign up for exercise classes and we can actually do those exercise classes when we're looking at a screen, interacting with a real live human being or a class that's been recorded and instructs us. We correspond, we watch movies, we learn, and we scroll. So I want to talk today about the modern world and how it meets our very human bodies. It's an episode about what our digital life is sort of doing to us physically with all the clicking and the scrolling, the cradling, the craning of our eyes and our neck. And I mean what we can do to help us recover and also reduce its physical impact gently and powerfully. I don't know if you've thought about this before, unless you've suffered some kinds of strain from it that have been directly attributed, but we can all benefit from helping our bodies handle the usage that we put it under this kind of physical and cognitive stress. So this sort of fits in the pillar of move daily. I'm going to put it there because I'm going to teach you a few exercises and stretches that we can do. And remember my sort of guiding professional and personal mantra: eat well, move daily, be healthy. The three pillars of a well-lived life that you can practice during your waking minutes each day. So the goal here is going to be simple. It's to offer you some small and meaningful movements and moments of relief right where you are. You don't need a gym for this. You won't need to even stand up for all of them unless you care to, which it's a good idea to get up and stand up. But just a few minutes and a little attention for our very human physical body that's interacting with our very digital world. We weren't built to spend so much time in this. Imagine whatever this position is, the one sitting with your hands on a keyboard, perhaps. Maybe your eyes are straight ahead. Maybe you do have ergonomic setup in your office. That's great. A lot of us are tipping our heads down to phones and laptop screens and tablets. And we weren't designed to be locked in on one screen, one device for such long periods of time. Just not the human design that we could have ever imagined. But what we can do and design is build in some small practices that make us feel a whole lot better in the process. So this is what it's about today. Easy resets, mini stretches that actually make a difference. So whether you're working right now or you're staring at a screen, maybe you're resting or listening while multitasking while you catch this episode. And maybe you're even walking, hopefully with one headphone in outside. Keep on listening here because I'm planning on helping give your eyes, your neck, your hands a little love before this episode is over. So I wanted to share, I've been thinking about, do I share this or don't I? But I decided to share a personal medical story time for a moment. Those of you who know me know that I sometimes share things that are a little off the wall, and hopefully you'll appreciate this, maybe relate to it even with your own kind of medical story. So this is the story of my cyst, a wrist cyst, in fact. And it's not one that I've really shared before beyond my family. So maybe I'm taking a wrist cyst risk, but I'm happy to do it in the name of what we're doing today and why I wanted to do this episode so imminently, so now. So very recently, within the last probably 8 weeks, I recognized, I noticed a ganglion cyst on my wrist. It was right at the connection of my wrist along the line of my thumb, the inner crease where you bend. And it's definitely as annoying once you see it there and feel it there as it sounds. It's one of those things that shows up on people, and apparently me. I've had one before, and I'll tell you about that. When you use an area of your body and it tries to like contain and create something inside as a mechanism of defense or protection. It's like a little balloon, and it was near my wrist joint, and it just hangs around. Especially if you use your hands a lot, you're more inclined to get them, but not everyone gets them. And of course, most of us use our hands a lot. So this was the size of a pea, if you can imagine that. Actually, a little bigger than a pea, and it was hard. Maybe like a pearl. Yeah, that would be a good way to think about it. And a big one, it was like, let's say 8 or 9 millimeters. It was almost a centimeter. It was pretty big and it was hard, like a pearl. Perfectly round if you felt it under the skin. And it was a good size and it was noticeable. All of a sudden, I saw it pop up. I hadn't seen it emerging, curiously enough. We get into our life. It's not something that you're assessing or looking all over. And then it was there. And then I couldn't not notice it. I couldn't unnotice it. It didn't hurt. And when I would touch it, it would sort of roll around a little bit, but it stayed put, like sort of near your ligaments and tendons that are there. I had one of these once before. I can't remember exactly when, maybe close to a decade ago. And I was sent actually to a hand specialist, an orthopedic surgeon, to check it out. And he helped me then. And he did an outpatient procedure. So this is where my brain was going as soon as I started seeing this. An outpatient procedure. It was really fast. He was really wonderful. And it was a forgettable amount of pain. I recall it being painful, but it was outpatient. It was right there at his desk. He numbed it. He put a pretty sizable needle in through my wrist, into it, and boom, it popped like a balloon. Little strange. It didn't ooze. It didn't have anything. In fact, when he pulled the needle out, it was just skin. I just needed a Band-Aid just from the puncture of the needle. He had told me then that while cosmetically it was unappealing, and again, once you see it, you can't unnotice this sort of hard pearl that is on your wrist that grows, but it could become problematic if it interferes with your movement or if it starts pressing on things like nerves. But generally, they're harmless. So he told me at the time, and sort of as he was sort of relaying to me, I'm like, what is this odd thing in my body? What's going on? He told me that, and maybe you've heard about this, there's like old folklore that says when you get these type of cysts, that you slam it with a textbook to get rid of it. And believe it or not, there are many people, you might be hearing and nodding. There are many people since that time who've like heard that or said that when I mention a cyst or talk about it. Oh, that's what you do. It was sometimes even called a Bible bump, these ganglion cysts, I came to find out, because people would take the Bible, I guess, and bang it on the wrist. Folklore or not, this is a sort of remedy that I heard about in, let's call it medical legend. So anyway, I don't know about you, but when something weird is going on in my body, I check on it. And because it was at my wrist, I checked on it regularly. And I would sort of press on it. I would sort of move it. I would put it on my to-do list for the day to call and get the medical appointment scheduled. But it would drop off because, again, it wasn't hurting me. It was just sort of annoying to be there. I sort of knew that I'd had this before. It wasn't going to be harmful. The first time it made me really nervous when I got it. So I got right in there years ago. And this is where I'm going to put myself out there a little bit. I didn't try the book approach, though I was tempted, although I didn't quite know how I could wing that on myself. And I didn't think that my family members would be willing to sort of come down hard on my wrist with a book. But I would occasionally press it, I'd squeeze it, and just wouldn't budge. It felt solid. It's a really weird thing to describe, that it's hollow, but it's really hard and round. So I would do that occasionally. I would just sort of check on it and squeeze it. And it wasn't the first, but maybe the 10th, maybe the 12th, I don't know, over a number of days. And into my procrastinating on making that appointment, I was mindlessly checking it out. I remember talking to my daughter, just having a general conversation. And all of a sudden, my eyes sprung wide open and I started laughing. And I felt this pop and this weird sensation come over me. It finally burst. I'm sort of embarrassed telling you this. It's a little too close for comfort, maybe, but it popped. And then I felt relief. And then I kept checking it, and everything was completely flat. Somehow I had, either through the repeated motion or just squeezing, or it was just that time, I squeezed it hard enough. It popped, it dissipated, and it was gone. Ew, I know. But guess what? It was such a great relief. I did call and mention it to my primary doctor just to be sure. She's so wonderful. And I could hear a smile in her voice, and she confirmed basically what the orthopedic surgeon and with the needle, what that accomplishes. And just to be mindful that my personal constitution, that I may be more prone to this because of something about me personally, maybe my posture also, and also my work and my digital life. So I'm not saying you should try this at home, but it did remind me how very physical tech use can be, and how our bodies will absolutely tell us when enough is enough. And it's why I thought now was a good time to share some of the exercises that I've done and taught others as well, not just recently, but over many years. So I've re-upped and recommitted to my routine. Admittedly, sometimes we get lazy on some of these. If it's not heard or if it's not bothering you, you just go on with your day, and sometimes we forget. But I hope you find them helpful and worth a few of your waking minutes, and on a regular basis too. So why do we need a digital reset or to have some opportunities to stretch and exercise ourselves out of this constant contact? Well, this is what I like to call the ROIs, the returns on investment. So before I share some exercises today, I want to underscore why having some digital rescue moves, some remedies like targeted stretches, some exercises, why it's important to our now, our daily, and our long-term health. So here are some of the benefits I want to paint before you. Your body is, of course, what you're investing in when I'm talking about the returns on investment toward a healthy, well-lived life, and hopefully not just today, but many vital years to come. So why should we take breaks from tech? And also, why should we do some moves and stretching to strengthen and support our digital life? Whether you're texting or emailing, Facebooking, scrolling the internet, researching, working, it's constant that we're on it. And one of the major problems with the tech era, as opposed to the typewriter times, is how long we stay on it without taking breaks. So as much as we love them, our devices have a tricky way of wreaking havoc, of drawing us in and wreaking havoc on our bodies. And enter evidence A, my wrist cyst. That was relatively minor in the scheme of things, though. So, repetitive movements, number one, like grasping your phone, keyboarding, texting, they can cause muscle tension and irritate your tendons. Tech and terrible posture go together. They're like linked up. Like I've been visiting a lot of sort of specialty cafes and they have overpriced lattes. So maybe we can think of tech and terrible posture. They go together like those specialty lattes that cost a fortune in those very fancy coffee shops that we love to go. They go together. They're a pair. We tilt forward toward our tablets and our phones. We put undue pressure on our necks and back. So some of the ROIs, I'm going to do this sort of by body part or body region. Number one, by doing some of these rescue moves, you can save your spine. When you look down at a 60-degree angle, you inadvertently are putting nearly 60 pounds of pressure on your neck. So the average head is about 8 to 10 pounds in weight. But as you tip, as you use an angle, the pressure, this is back to physics back in high school or college if you studied there, becomes nearly 60 pounds of pressure, like a 60-pound dumbbell pulling on your neck muscles every time. So over time, it adds up. And it leads to something that some have called tech neck. Even in the peer-reviewed research, this isn't just the media headlines I'm talking about, tech neck or text neck, and possibly chronic neck and back pain over time. On the extreme side, I just chuckled, I shouldn't. This is dead serious, but I can't believe the evolution here. The medical community has even observed that some people even grow an extra like horn-like bone at the base of their necks. According to some research out of Australia, it's like a mutation of sorts to, I guess, the body intention to support the head, which weighs that 8 to 10 pounds. But fortunately, better posture and neck exercises can counteract the effects, and I'm going to show you just a couple today. Another benefit or return on our investment from engaging in this way, just a few minutes every day and taking some smart strategic breaks, is you can help protect your thumbs, your hands, and your wrists. Do you remember when we used to call it BlackBerry thumb? I always think of little Jack Horner when I think of the thumb and BlackBerry. I think of pie. I don't think it was a plum pie. He pulled out a plum. But anyway, I always think of that when I think of BlackBerry thumb. But this was related, of course, to the early smartphones, the Blackberries. and the chronic pain that people started experiencing. And it was a strain injury that sort of evolved into what we now know is carpal tunnel syndrome and carpal tunnel injury. It's a strain that affects the tendons on the thumb side of our wrist, and it's really brought on by constant smartphone use. Additionally, being heavy on the keyboard, meaning long time use, constant use, wrong angles. Now we have pads in front of some of the keyboards, which is good, but not all laptops have them, or maybe you're on the go and you forgot to bring it. But it can also exacerbate some of the carpal tunnel and different wrist symptoms as well. And rippling pain through the wrist. Some get numbness. Some really can't even touch the keyboard after a few minutes. Actually, a study in Muscle and Nerve Journal found that students who overuse electronic devices are more likely to suffer wrist and hand pain, as well as changes to particular nerves in their hands. So ultimately, it's the repetitive movement, like scrolling and typing and texting, that can cause our tendons to become irritated. And it's very real. The positive news is that targeted exercises and some stretches, a couple that I'll share with you and show you today, can help keep the nerve channels open. They can offer some rest and relief. They can help reduce pain and inflammation, among other benefits. So how about our eyes? Just really think about your eyes. All this visual lockdown, in other words, restricting our vision at a fixed distance for long periods of time, it's taking a toll on everyone's eyesight, young and old. It causes eye strain. It can cause dry eyes. We actually blink less when we're staring at the screen, research has shown. It can cause blurred vision and even headaches on nearly a constant basis. So we need to give our eyes a break. Nearly 60% of adults report symptoms related to digital eye strain. And this includes things like dryness and blurred vision, like I mentioned, burning eyes, difficulty focusing, and of course, those headaches. And even kids are feeling it. I have an easy way to help us remember and practice something that will help us with that fixed gaze. And I'll share that in a few minutes. But one more quick did you know moment that I learned recently about that impacts the eyes is that professional esports, in other words, video gaming, are now Olympic recognized and will debut in a side Olympic esport game in 2027. So they are run by the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, along with a partner organization. And esports are organized competitive video gaming. And there are also solo athletes and there are teams involved. I'm just learning this. It blows my mind, not a judgment, a fascination. But, and I need to mention this part, guess what the top health complaint is among these athletes? Eye fatigue. That's what it is, eye fatigue. They're staring at screens, they're intently focused, they're athletes of their own kind, their own sport, the esports. Eye fatigue, the number one complaint. And then there's headaches. This is another thing that digital overuse or repetitive use can create for us. You can prevent or at least minimize the frequency, severity, and duration of headaches if you do certain strategies to help relieve digital use strain. So tension headaches, stress headaches, the kind that show up right behind your eye or across your forehead, if you've ever had those. Screen time and eye strain play a role here. And so does neck posture, of course. They are all interrelated when it comes to headaches. And if you suffer migraines, I suffer migraines, while it may not be a primary trigger for you, it's definitely a contributor, all this digital use. And let's face it, when you have a headache and you have to work through it somehow because your work is using the screen, Wow, oh wow, that is such a difficult scenario. It's another reason why we really need to attend to this. So taking screen breaks can help quell some of that, the tension headaches often brought on by digital eye strain. And adding stretches and relaxing breathing can also help reduce some of the debilitating stress headaches and symptoms from the excess illumination of the screens, from the eye strain, from the computer screens. In addition to moving and reducing some of that prolonged sitting and the potentially poor posture that comes with it. Okay, so now you know the why, some of the reasons and the why we're going to put some of these stretches and exercises and breaks into our lives. Now I need to give you the how. And when I was preparing for today, I realized I do have a lot of exercises that I've used and taught over the years, and a whole sequence even that you can follow. So I imagine I will have to come up with some good ways, starting today, but throughout the episodes to come, to build in some of those and maybe create some new materials that I can share out to you to help bring some of these to life. And if you're interested in that, please encourage me by writing and dropping me a line or coming on the Instagram to tell me about it, because it really helps me create things that are meaningful, which is my whole goal here with the podcast, for us to create a community, for me to lend my expertise, but also lend my real life experience and learn from you as well. So today in this episode, I want to focus on just a few key exercises though. But in order to do that, I wanted to share a way to scan our body a bit and recognize how tech can affect us physically, really from head to toe. We're going to focus sort of on the waist up today. But hopefully this is not too surprising once I plant the seed in your mind, since we are connected, our bodies, that is, in so many ways. Our blood vessels run throughout our body, from our heart back to our heart. Our nerves, our muscles, our tendons, our ligaments, our organs are all interrelated, but they're actually connected, our tissue. And of course, our largest organ, our skin, it holds us all in a nice little package. It's all connected. So I like to think of sort of 7 body zones for screen relief, and I'll introduce them to you by showing you the exercises. I will do like one round of each, but then tell you how to take it into your own experience. And then I'll do some posts so that we can get them, and I'll put some in the show notes so that you know what they are. We're going to look at our neck, our shoulders, our wrist, hands, and thumb, our posture overall. And on our mindful minute, we're going to talk about and talk through and do a little something with our eyes. So in other words, these are our primary tech tension zones. So I want to move through them together in succession. I'll do them briefly, but I encourage you to spend 1 to 5 minutes on each of these, 1 or more times a day, and focus a little more on the ones that you really feel or you know that you need. So the first is neck relief. And there are a number of exercises for the neck, but this is just a simple stretch. And what we're going to do, I don't want to call it this is neck relief, but what we're going to do is smell our armpit. And I'm not kidding. So what I want you to do is sit tall, feet on the floor, and tilt your head slightly one direction, let's say to the left, approximately 45 degrees, and use your hand to guide your nose toward your armpit. So the goal is guiding your nose toward your armpit. It's not pulling, but it's guiding. If it feels a little tight or tense, breathe into it. You can come up to center and readjust. Sometimes we get little crinks and clicks and everything. This is not about adjusting your neck. Please don't do that. This is about gentle stretching. But sometimes we come up and we just need to move just a little bit. and then do it again. And basically, smell your armpit. And then we're going to do the other side. And as you do these, what I encourage you to do is hold the stretch and do 5 slow, easy, deep breaths. So let's do the other side because I feel out of balance if I don't do that. Tilt and smell your armpit. Simply breathe. 5 breaths. Drop your hand and bring your head upright. So I do put this on video on YouTube, but I hope that the way I'm verbalizing it, you're getting the idea and you do both sides. You can do it again even. This should feel really good. And I haven't come up with a better way of describing it because if you direct your nose toward your armpit, you really get that angle that I'm talking about that we really need. Number 2 are shoulder rolls. So again, we're sitting easy and gently. We're sort of tipping our chin in just a little bit, sort of trying to check your ears over your shoulders. And we're going to get to that with our posture check in a moment as well. But just simple shoulder rolls. First, roll them forward 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you do this, I'm speaking so you can't hear me breathing naturally, but you're breathing naturally as you do this. And then you reverse 5 times back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe take a pause for 5 or 10 seconds and then do another couple repetitions of that if you wish. The third, and this one's really critical, and it will surprise you. And hopefully you'll feel better and better over time, but you'll be surprised at how tight you may be in your wrists. Okay, so this is one where I want you to extend your arm, so let's say the right arm, out straight in front of you. Don't overstretch it. And with your other hand, take your fingers and pull them up. So you're going to create a flex where your palm is facing straight ahead as if you're saying stop. And pull it gently just beyond comfort and then back off a little bit. Don't overstretch it. And while we're breathing, we just hold it 5 to 8 seconds. I'm going to keep the number 5 in your mind so that you have some different options on how to remember how many times, how many seconds, how many breaths. 5. And then we're going to flex it downward. We're going to point our fingers downward, the opposite direction, as if your fingers are pointing straight toward the floor. And hold that for 5 to 8 seconds, or about 5 breaths. 5 very slow seconds. Can you have a slow second? I guess it's just a second. 5 slow counts. And then we're going to repeat that with the other arm. So let's do it. We'll do it one time, and I encourage you to do this more times to repeat this because it really is so good. Take your left arm right out in front of you. You're going to make this stop, halt symbol with your hand, with your fingers pointing toward the ceiling. Take your right hand and gently pull back your fingers to sort of articulate the stretch a little bit further. When you're at the point of tension, just back off a little bit. You're getting a stretch, even you don't have to pull really hard. We're not trying to create inflammation or create pain. We're just stretching. 5 to 8 seconds, 5 breaths. You get the idea. And now, fingers down. You keep your arm outward, fingers toward the ground. Gentle pull. You should feel it up your forearm even. So you might feel it on the back of your wrist some, but this particular stretch, you feel sort of run up your forearm, the muscles that connect into the tendons and ligaments around your elbow. And that's the wrist. Next, I love these. Next are our hands. And we're going to do jazz hands. So with your hands comfortably in front of you, your elbows can be bent, hands can be out, whatever's comfortable. I want you to make some fists and hold them. Fists tight, hold them. And you're going to do this how many breaths? Probably 5. 5 to 8 seconds. And then you're going to stretch your fingers wide out like jazz hands. I guess you can give a shake if you want, if you were a dancer and you like to do jazz hands. But really, this is about the stretch out wide. And you'll repeat this 5 times. So fists, we'll do it just a couple times. Hold. And spread them wide. Give them a little shake, shimmy. Makes you smile. And that's jazz hands. So that's our hands. Now, number 5 of the 7-point scan we're doing with our body for our digital relief is our thumb. We're going to give it a little TLC. So I want you to spread your fingers out, but relax. So if you're watching, or if you're listening and not watching, I'm just sort of showing a halt sign, like stop where you are, but my fingers are outstretched. Now, what I want you to do is to stretch your thumb gently across your palm, reaching toward your pinky really, but on your palm for about 5 seconds or 5 breaths. Good. Now I want you to stretch it wide the opposite way and make sort of that jazz hand, but we're really focusing on our thumb. There's other things you can do here, but this is a really good PT move, a physical therapy move that I've been given as an exercise in the past when I've had thumb issues. And actually, interestingly, as I just did it, my thumb sort of cramped up. I'm going back to my pinky again, across my palm. My thumb sort of cramped up a little bit. I really needed this right now as I was doing it. And then spread it wide. And you want to repeat that about 5 times on each side. So while we're here, I'm going to do the left hand. I'm really all about balance. You might have one area, one side that you need more attention to, and that's fine as well. But it's really good when you're doing these exercises to do both. So my thumb is on my palm against my pinky, pointing toward it now. My hand is outright stretched. And now I'm back in sort of the jazz hands, but focusing, putting attention on my thumb. Do that just a couple times and we'll move on. This is a little circuit you could do. 6 is a posture check. On your chair, so this is an important one, sit where you sit and with your feet uncrossed. I want you to sit back, put your back against the chair. I want you to tuck your chin in a little bit and gently down. I tend to extend my neck upward when I'm looking at my screen. It's my natural inclination, and I do have and suffer from some neck issues because of it and neck tension that I have to often address in a number of ways like these stretches. But you tuck your chin gently down and sort of feel the back of your neck elongate just a little. Again, this is not a stretch, this is just a gentle tuck. Then readjust your head, which for me is like bringing it back a little bit, to get your ears over your shoulders. And with that, you start to feel a change. It should feel a little easier on your whole body. While you're there, bring yourself into a very erect, tall posture, sort of pushing your head toward the ceiling. This isn't to maintain this as your posture, it's just to check. And then let yourself come back to a little more relaxed position, maintaining your chin a little tucked and your ears over your shoulder. When you're doing that, you pull in your abs a little bit, you straighten your spine, and then you're relaxed again and you're a little bit more aligned and more comfortable, hopefully, as well. And finally, in our 7-point body scan, I'm going to focus on the eyes. They are so important. By the way, you don't have to do all 7. You don't have to do them in this order, but I put the eyes last because I'm going to roll them into our mindful minute. I'm going to eye roll them into our mindful minute today, which of course is a time where we take typically a minute together to sort of assess and be aware of our time, to be aware of our bodies, our breathing, and give ourselves a little self-care. So in doing that, this will take a little bit more than a minute today because I'm going to talk you through it. But when you do it on your own, it's just a minute of your time. This will require you to be somewhere safe so that you can be seated or standing. But if you are driving, you won't be able to do this right now. So you can breathe and gain the benefits of just some purposeful breathing over the minute as you listen to the description, because we are going to be covering our eyes. So, you know how we talk about 20/20 as perfect vision? Or our eye doctors especially do. They put us to the literal test and they have us look at the line and see if we can read it. And we correct our vision to 20/20 or thereabouts. And metaphorically speaking, we say hindsight is 20/20. Well, there is a rule out there for our eyes to help us with relieving digital eye strain, and it's called the 20/20/20 rule. I didn't invent this. It's a practice that's recommended by the American Academy of Ophthalmology and the American Optometric Association as well. And this 20/20/20 means every 20 minutes, take a 20-second break and focus on something 20 feet away. Our eye muscles, like most of our muscles, are designed to move. And our eye muscles are designed to refocus and shift points of focus and look side to side. And many of us these days sit in fixed positions at fixed distances, staring at a glowing screen, and even blinking less, researchers have observed, blinking less than we should for hours on end. And so it's really no surprise that we get this digital eye strain, that our muscles weaken and become at risk, our eyes do, of becoming impaired or weak. So we're going to do this mindful minute. It will take us a little bit more than a minute. I'll set my stopwatch so I keep track just in the describing of it. But the 20/20/20 is going to be our now and our ongoing goal. So in preparation of this, let's do one of those preparatory breaths that we do, where we take a nice deep breath in through our nose and out through our mouth. Okay, and as we begin, just follow along with this little bit of this script that I will share with you verbally. So first, I want you to blink slowly for a few seconds. Purposeful blinks. Blinking is actually something that is both automatic, unconscious, and a conscious choice. So blink purposefully a few times. Feel your eye muscles as you do that. Maybe a little bit of tears start to form even. Now, I want you to take your hands and rub them together, palm to palm. Rub them together to warm them up. Once there's a bit of friction, a bit of warmth, then we're going to gently cup your palms over your eyes, and you can close your eyes. You're not pressing, you're just covering them. You're creating some darkness, you're putting a little warmth toward your eyes, and close your eyes. As you do that, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, about 5 times. Picture the warmth in your mind, don't look at it, picture it. And then we're going to repeat it a few times. As the warmth leaves and dissipates, gently create friction on your hands again, warm your hands up, and do this cupping again. When you've gone through a few cycles of that, maybe 2 to 3 cycles or so, if it feels really good, do some more. Uncover your eyes and look across a room, across the space, 20 feet away if you can. And I encourage you to actually measure this out. You can gain a sense, not only in your spaces that you spend a lot of time, but also just a sense when you're out and about, what 20 feet looks like. It might surprise you. And let your eyes refocus at that distance and breathe in about 5 times in and out. before bringing your eyes back front and center. And you can repeat that. You come front and center, and then shoot your eyes out 20 feet. Breathe in and out 5 times. Come back to center, and you're done. Just like that, you've done the 20-20-20 rule, and it's a nervous system reset at the same time. So that was a couple minutes in explanation, but you can see how that would just take about a minute to do on your own. And that's our mindful minute for today. So thank you for sharing that mindful minute with me. So before we wrap up this episode, I want to give you a bonus exercise actually for your eyes. It's something that I really love to do. And well, it's not really that I love it so much. It's that I love the way it makes me feel after I do it. So maybe that's more accurate there. I tend to call this the silly eye stretches. And it's not silly in why you do it or how it makes you feel, but it's sort of silly in how it makes you look, especially if other people are around and catch you doing it, especially people like Q, my daughter, when I'm doing it. But it can make you smile. And of course, we know smiles are good for our health too. And it's very straightforward, actually. And you might remember it by thinking of it as the looking star. I think of it like a star. So I'm going to walk you through this briefly. And I'll do the brief version, but I will cover both sides so that we get the complete exercise together. So again, you're going to always sit forward in your chair comfortably in good posture, feet on the floor, knees and legs uncrossed, your head straight above your shoulders. Remember that big weight that's sitting above your shoulders. When you tip it forward, it can be up to 60 pounds of pressure. So we're bringing our chin in, our ears over our shoulders. And this is an exercise for your eyes. So you are not going to move your neck or your head while you do this, just your eyes. And if you find yourself moving your head, as I often do, I get myself confused and sort of tongue-tied in my brain, I'll just bring it back to center and start again. So first, with your head still, you're going to just look as far left as you can. As far left. Feel the muscles of your eye socket. Far left, and you're going to breathe into that look and hold it. Again, about 5 breaths, 5 seconds. 5 is the number of the day. And then you're going to come back to center. Next, you're going to do the same on the right. Look right. If your head got away from you and you start tipping, or if you lose where you're looking, if you're watching on YouTube, you might get a few laughs at me doing this. It always makes me sort of chuckle. Look to the right, hold it, take some breaths. Of course, I'm speaking, so I'm not doing proper breathing right now. But breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Come back to center, and you focus. Next, we are going to look up to the ceiling, all the way to the ceiling. Try to look up to the ceiling without tipping your head up. Straight up to the ceiling, hold it. You should actually feel your muscles engage here, your eye muscles as you look up and breathe. And always come back to center before you go to the next move. Next, down to the floor. Try to avoid tipping your chin down and look down to the floor. Sort of feels like you're going cross-eyed, but straight down to the floor as much as you can. Hold and breathe. Back to center. Next, there's 4 more. Hold up a 5 if you're on YouTube. 4 more that we do to create the star, and those are the diagonals. Next, you're going to shoot your eyes up and left to the diagonal as high as you can toward the ceiling at the diagonal to the left. And center. You shoot your eyes up to the right at a diagonal. Try to see the ceiling at the side. Come back to center. Lower left diagonal, you're looking down at the floor, across the room, to the left, back to center, and down to the right. Diagonal, and come back to center. Now, just 2 add-ons if you choose to do it. That was 8 points of a star that we just did. But you can do eye rolls. So you roll them around to the left 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. Now, I don't know about you, but that sort of gets me smiling, for one. But it also gets me recentered. It feels a little rested. My eyes get brighter, like my vision gets a little brighter. And it feels good. It's just so wow about being able to engage those muscles in a purposeful way. And most of us aren't doing that on a regular basis, unless you're doing exactly what I just described. To me, it feels so, so good. It feels needed even when I finish it. And sometimes I forget how much until I do it. I'd love to hear how it feels for you. You might want to try it a few cycles, a few times to get it down and to share with me. It should be purposeful, but it shouldn't strain or hurt. So you might not realize just how much more room, how much more focus, how many more things you can look at when you engage your eye muscles, not just straightforward as we typically do when we're staring at screens during our day. So all of this is important, and we covered a lot today, from eye strain and caring for them to our posture and some hopefully satisfying, if not surprising also, stretches that we can do, like smell your armpit. It just feels so good. So how do we turn this into something real and doable right now? Here are a few reminders, let's say, and small shifts that you can start today, even between meetings, or if you take a restroom break, or right after your next scrolling session when you take a break from that. The first is setting reminders, plain and simple. Set reminders to get up every 30 minutes on average. If you're really locked into a screen, make that 20 minutes and apply that 20-20-20 rule. Just a quick stretch or a posture check or the 20-20-20, the eye exercise, and refocus can really make a difference. Another thing to try is to pick a stretch or two that we did today. The neck roll, the neck turn, the smell the armpit, shoulder rolls, the wrists, remember those, or maybe even just jazz hands to stretch out your hands before you get back to the keyboard or your smartphone. 1 minute is better than none, so everything counts. Do those posture checks. That's another thing to remind you about doing now and again in your day. You will be amazed at how much just sort of resetting your head over your shoulders, over your body, can make a difference on how much energy you have, how much less fatigue you feel later in the day, and how much less muscular stress and tension you feel as well. So do that and practice that. And then, of course, give your eyes some love. Do the 20-20-20, do the star stretch that we just did together. And if your eyes are still feeling strain, I didn't talk about this today. I could do this in another episode, but I might just mention now that you might try some of those blue light glasses that are available. Some people have really found benefit at like softening the glare on the screen, especially later in the day. They just sort of filter the digital glow that comes off of your screens. So this isn't about a whole new set of things to do, but hopefully ways to make the most of your waking minutes by taking some moments to renew and rest and stretch and recognize how important these are to your effectiveness as a human being and to your vital well life. So in effect, we're navigating a world nowadays that doesn't always have our body in mind, but we have to deal with it. And we can't delete technology, and it helps us in so many ways, but you can, shall we say, delete some of the negative effects and the stress that it can cause. So thank you for sharing a few of your waking minutes with me today. I'll be sure to put a summary and these tips and exercises in the show notes. And I think I'll also start working on making some handouts and perhaps some little videos that walk us through some of these exercises so you can have a guided circuit perhaps to bring this more to life. And if that's something meaningful to you, please reach out and tell me, because I can, my goal is in our community to create content and educational and evidence-based strategies that can help us as a group, but you individually too, get toward your goals to eat well, move daily, and be healthy. You can always find me at wendybazilian.com, and you can access the contact page or that method. And please, on Instagram, I'm at 1000 Waking Minutes. Please join, follow, share with a friend. I appreciate it so much as we share our health-inspired lives together. I hope this episode leaves you feeling a little more limber, maybe, a little more refreshed, and a little more aware of how small shifts can add up to bigger relief, especially over time, and especially given how much we rely on our digital tools. So with that in mind, I'm going to get off the tech now a little and go get myself some fresh air, natural lighting, and a little real movement. I'm Wendy Bazilian, your host of 1000 Waking Minutes, and until next time, be well. Thank you for tuning in to 1000 Waking Minutes. A huge thank you to our amazing collaborators, including our production and marketing teams, and Gabriela Escalante in particular. To the ultra-talented Beza for my theme music, my lifelong friend and artist, Pearl Price Photography and Design, to Daniel Ballantyne, Jen Nguyen, Joanna Powell, and of course my family, and everyone working tirelessly behind the scenes. And to you, our valued listeners, I so appreciate your support. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving a comment, writing a review, and giving 1000 Waking Minutes, that's us, a 5-star rating. And please hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy your podcasts. Please follow and stay connected at wendybazilian.com. And don't forget to share with your friends. Your support helps us grow and bring you more great content. Until next time, find some simple opportunities to optimize those 1000 waking minutes each day.
I'm saying yes to better days, yes, I'm on my